Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to week 49. I think it's week 49 of Ages.
Oh god, it's been almost been a year streaming wise.
Yeah, let's try not to think about it too hard. Of a live development. Hello to Centurion, K-Trek, Draconian.
Draconian.
How you all doing today? Now, Max is here, very, very fortunately. I didn't think he'd be here today, but I'm very, very glad that he is. Thank you very much for joining me, Max.
Hey.
And what are we going to do? We're probably going to play a little bit of the game, shortly.
Did you say the word shortly?
Shortly. We're going to play a bit of that. But before we do that, we've just got a couple of little changes to make. Max has been making some damage meshes, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Hey, Dolly, how you doing, my man? And hello,
I make things go kaboom.
And Brutoni, and Dalek Sith. That name.
Dalek Sith.
Yeah, that'll do. I've got to look at pirates.
Yar.
Now, one thing that I did is I'm in Star Trek Nemesis folder here.
God's sakes.
That's better. I grabbed a stock references folder for myself, and I wanted to look at player pirate. And the reason I want to look at player pirate is because planets, not players. We noticed that it's very, very rare that pirate raids actually make it to your planets at the moment. And that isn't ideal. If we're going to introduce a feature, of course, we want it to be seen, or at least felt, by the player in one way, shape, or form.
Felt.
Giggity. And one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to have a look at the pirate upgrades that are currently available. And see if they had something that made local militia not attack them. Let's see what we've got. HP max, sprint, charge up time increase. It doesn't look like they do, interestingly. It genuinely doesn't look like they do have that. Which is interesting.
Oh. But Schism says, by the way, gents, I remember some discussion of playing Bridge Crew sometime soon. I have it sitting installed. Should an opportunity come up?
It's something that we will want to do, I think, yeah.
I think sometime, maybe next week, we can do, instead of a dev stream, we can do it. Let's have the devs have some fun.
Yeah, couldn't hide.
So if you could focus your attention on my screen, I can show you what I've been working on.
Could do that. And naturally, this is going to be slightly worse quality than it might otherwise be, because you're looking through a screen, folks. So apologies for that.
So let's go with number 1.
He's going down.
Look at the little debris, how it behaves now.
Oh, it looks good. And you've limited that to what? To like 50 of the small pieces, I think you said?
Yep, I also implemented some of the slightly larger pieces. It's like some of those hull plates, they're in there.
Oh, nice, nice.
And that bit, but they'll only be using cap ships. But the debris will rotate a bit more, but it will also, you know, because of that, it will... it'll also spread a bit better, and all the other debris will just behave a bit better. So let's...
Hi Vasil, how you doing? Centurion, hello. Brutoni, in case I didn't say your name before. And indeed Schism, and K-Trek.
And this is one I just implemented into the game.
That's nice.
Look at that, it's missing an entire piece of its wing once the light hits it in the right spot. Yeah, there we go, look.
Bear in mind, folks, that there's a slight quality impairment on my screen because I'm watching through Max's screen.
Look at that.
Ooh, that's nice. You've got a lot better at that. So, are you primarily intending to restrict them to a single piece debris with kind of a debris shower around them this time? I know in
some ships have multiple pieces. Some of the 5 ones have 2 pieces.
Okay.
I do plan on having some ships, but I didn't want to just have. See, because most Klingon pylons are really sturdy, and I didn't want to do the typical cut off nacelle Or usually with Klingons, cut off neck.
Cut off neck, yeah.
kinda.
The neck every time. I mean, I always thought it would be quite interesting, like cutting the, you know, the hunchback off the bird of prey in A3. I thought that might have been quite an interesting piece to take off, but I think it would have been a lot of difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
What were they? Radiators?
I don't know what they are. Stuff and things.
I think I read in Star Trek Fact Files, yeah, I'm a nerd, when I was a kid, that they were radiators. But it didn't necessarily make a lot of sense.
I don't know.
I don't know. So somebody will be able to tell us, I'm sure. That tends to be the way of things. Nice. I like it. Right, so let's just... I'll keep your screen up there, I think.
Look at that.
but
I think the overall...
Time.
It's baby time. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, let's. I also finished the Fed Titan debris. I know it was seen last time, but I tweaked it a bit with the explosion. Oh, I also tweaked the Constitution. If you guys would, if you pay attention to my screen, I added some extra spotlights to make the ship just appear a bit more lit.
Oh, that looks nice.
Just pause it real quick. You can kind of see like where the registry would be, and just on the neck and the pylons.
Okay, so that'll be more interesting when it's in darkness.
Yeah, I felt because you know our mod, the lighting in the mod is pretty dark, and the Connie was just like a blob of darkness with some light, with some windows, and I felt that this could add a bit more of a dynamic. But let's have some fun and kill this thing.
Don't kill the Connie. Oh no! Ike will never forgive us. Nice. Oh, I like the way that's rotated off and moved. Well, that looks very natural, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think the Connie debris is the best debris that I've built so far.
Well, what was it you modelled it off?
The Doomsday Machine episode. The USS Constellation that got wrecked. I think the debris for Federation ship is a lot easier to do because there's a lot more symmetry and easier lines on them. I think at TNG era it's a bit different, but like you've got these round nacelles which make stuff like this internal stuff a lot easier to do. Like the warp.
And also typically you've got rounder sources, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to those ovoid shapes that you get later on.
Mm-hmm. It's baby time. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yeah, that looks really nice. I'm impressed with that. Back down. What am I trying to do here?
Stuff and things. I've told you. I've also increased the duration of the debris by about tenfold. We'll have to test performance on that, by the way. But the debris, of course, in general, is a lot lower poly than it was on stock sins because it's got a lot of these like tiny little pieces.
Hmm. I know somewhere. I think it's a tech research.
Yep, I know it's a TC.
Research subject. Fortunately, it tends not to be very clear, does it? Because it's not research subject tech all the time.
No, but you can check the TC player file. I think the rebels allow for allying with neutrals.
They do. It's just remembering the actual name of it is the. I think it might be truce amongst rogues. That stands to reason. Friendly with pirates. That's just with pirates, though. But does pirates include neutrals? That's the question.
No. Search. Or is it the loyalists that allow for neutral ally with neutrals?
I would expect it probably to be the loyalists. We can go via the player file, can't we? See what their research subjects are.
I'm looking through it as well. Isn't it research subject universal negotiation?
No, that allows you to demand and give gifts. I thought it was that
Sure.
one initially as well. Hey Farb, how you doing? Oh. It might actually be the rebel, actually. Yeah, thinking about it. Because the loyalist doesn't seem to have the other one.
Maybe it's liberated liberated resistance.
Can't hurt to check. Oh, liberated. Bloody hell. Let's take a look at liberated resistance. Friendly with insurgent ship spawned at home planet when enemy planet liberated.
Wow.
That is a hell of a modifier.
It's not truce amongst rogues.
Truce amongst rogues is just friendly with pirates, and there's no point making them friendly with themselves. Oh. Well, maybe they changed that, so it wasn't the same as it used to be.
No, I know it's different. Well, I know which one. I can check one of the research modifiers and check which file it is. I'll just use the sins.
That's a good idea. It's going to be friendly with NPC militia or something.
Yeah, it's an entity modifier, isn't it?
Yeah. Research modifier, possibly. I think it will be. Research pool modifier.
Yeah. Research subject, research pool modifier. Friendly with pirates, rebels, neutrals. Friendly with pirates, friendly with rebel neutrals.
Friendly with rebel neutrals. Do you want to paste that into the chat for me? And what I'll do is I'll grab the liberated again. Can't find the B button. I'll copy this.
Checking it. Checking the file. It's checking it. It's almost done. It is not in any file.
Yeah, I as I say, I think they changed it. We'll change this to pirate research. Oh, is it res in AOTF now?
Checking it. Checking the other one. Friendly with pirates, rebels, pirates, rebel, neutrals. Because it might be that it's both.
Pirate rebel neutrals. If you just post
That's
that
a
line.
zero
for me.
file. But did we not remove the I did in your chat?
Excellent, perfect.
Oh, all the research, stock research stuff.
This for the time being. Let's take a look at where it is. Position 0, 0. We'll give it a high priority so it researches it. Don't want any research prerequisites.
I think I might know why we can't find it enough, because I think Sovereign literally just took the stock one and changed it.
I'm not sure that is in stock anymore.
It is. It is.
Okay, well that should be fine. Gonna have it cost free as well for the pirates.
Yeah. Can you not have it start like base level 1? Then it's always applied, isn't it?
Oh, how do I do that? I've forgotten.
I can't. I don't know if it's possible on this one. Let me zoom into your screen. Actually, it can't. No, that's only with float. It's only with floats, yeah.
That's okay though. I've given it a fairly high priority, and it doesn't cost it any. It's tier 07. Theoretically, our nice pirate rebels should. So let's copy, paste it in here.
Actually, you know what, Chris? I'm just going to push my thing. I think I'm going to tab out of this stream because I'm
That's okay, bud. Don't worry.
really tired. Just pushing the command rec.
Oh god, I'm gonna have to entertain you by myself, folks. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Sorry, folks. I've had a long day. I might explain it. It's a private matter.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, buddies. Pushing it now. It's won't affect the features.
Thanks, my man. Is player pirate still the Orion?
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye bye, mate. You have a good one.
Thanks.
Right, folks. So theoretically, what should happen now? Player pirate is the one. Looking at. I think it might be player Orion. Yeah, maybe. Come on, girl, I would have started singing, Robbie. Robbie? I don't know, lads. I don't know. Right, if you do have any questions about the development, then feel free to pitch in. Green, Arconian, Andorian, Ferengi, Elachi, Mazarite, Nausicaan. Oh yeah, there is a Nausicaan player, isn't there? Suliban, Tellarites. It must be player pirate. I can't really see it being anything else. So we'll get rid of all these. For one. Pop that there. That should be fine for their research. Do need to put it into the entity manifest. I think I've probably still done something wrong, but we'll find out shortly. There we go. Right, theoretically, that should allow us to have pirates who are friendly with all the naughty men. Let's just have a quick check to see if Max has pushed any changes. He has. You can see here on the GitLab commits, he's done the D4 command rec. That's fine, because that shouldn't have any negative impact on me. So I can pull. Hello, Khan. How are you? Proxima class is solidly TOS aesthetic, so Yeah, I would agree. There we go. A few bits and bobs that have been changed there. Now I'll commit my change. Pirates are all nice neutrals, possibly. Let's push that. May or may not work. Okay. Now, there are some other things that I wanted to look at today. So, given that it looks like we're not going to be playing a game, let's just take a look at the gameplay constants in here. Some of our testers expressed a concern that there might be too many. I can go away for a bit. There might be too many of the neutral factions. I'm going to boot. Should be down here. Here we go, player. Let's see. 1 and 3. That doesn't seem unreasonable. If I'm honest. So the maximum amount of ships that you're going to get from the enemy is going to be 3. That doesn't seem unreasonable to me. And as a result, I'm not sure that I'm going to change that. These are the Outlaw Sector ships you can see. Outlaw Spawn ships options count. There are 17 different varieties of Outlaw Sector ships that you can have. And when it comes to fleet points, 1. Maximum fleet points, 3. So there could be a maximum of 3 ships that come at you. I could move these down to 2, I suppose. We'll move them down to 2 because it won't be much of a hardship for me to move them back up, supposing I... The Klingons got more than anybody else as well, which is not right. Breen, max fleet points 2. Two for the Mazarites. Norsicans. Someone's going to be angry with me about this, no doubt. And there we go, that's basically where we're at. Everything's fine there. Change those constants. Was there anything else that we wanted to do? Pirate raids I was fairly satisfied with. Wasn't concerned about that. Pirate raid def is okay at the moment. Let's just take a look in the dev build. God, I think I probably messed something up. You've not come across the aquatic vessel since the last update. The large aquatic vessel, that'll only sit in certain gravity wells. Typically, they're quite high value gravity wells. I can turn the sound up a little there. There we go. Right, let's have a peek. Looks like I didn't actually do anything terrible. And we'll load into, say, Eye of Apollo. Please don't put multiple ones in the same one. I don't really understand what you're getting at there, Draconian. Do you mind rephrasing so I understand? You guys discussing the plaudits of the Discovery? Or the Crossfield class, or whatever you want to call it. Please don't put multiple large aquatic ships in the same gravity well. Well, you know for a fact that we already haven't done so. I don't know why you're asking us not to do so. There's only ever one in a gravity well. Gizm says, I hear Discovery is your favourite trek. It's my favourite trek that's currently being produced. I think the Cardassians will be really interesting to redesign in the future. I think giving them kind of a more Habitian vibe would be really interesting. Whether we ever get to do it is, you know, of course, we don't know. But it's plausible that we will. What do I think about the new Kelvin Timeline movie being Oh, Pirates turned off, so I'm never going to get to see. What do I think about the new Kelvin Timeline movie being cancelled? It's not ideal. And the reason that I say it's not ideal is because whatever I may or may not think about the Kelvin Timeline, one thing that I think we can probably all agree on is it did encourage a new generation of Trek fans. And a new generation of Trek fans, they might have seen the 2009 film and then they might have gone to have a look at the back catalogue, and some of them, not all of them of course, but some of them might have found themselves enjoying the TNG or TOS or Voyager or DS9 more than they enjoyed the 2009 movies. So it's like a gateway drug to Star Trek, I suppose, in many ways. And that's kind of a good thing. I'd rather have some Trek going on currently than no Trek, and for that reason, this is why I don't go absolutely bonkers about Discovery, because it is still an official Star Trek thing, regardless of what my own personal opinions of all of its decision making is. It is introducing new fans to Trek, or new potential. Oh, I need to fix these pips. We don't have a pirate thing. We need that. We need something for pirates, and we need something for wormholes. Right, so the question's going to be, what are the pirates going to do? And that's the only question I want to answer here. Only when it comes to Star Trek, Brittoni. I'm going to miss the Boldly Go comics. I think I ever saw those. Oh, hello. Oh, it's that bloody squad error. Go away, squad error. No one likes you. Damn it! Skip. I really do like the Orion ships. Oh, hello. Pirates are off. There aren't too many of them going. I think we've probably got one torpedo boat and one interceptor at the moment, but I want to see how they interact with, say, these Zokan over here. That's the direction they're going in. It is. Oh, God. Now, based on what we're seeing here, it looks like the neutrals don't care about them. We'll be able to tell that a little bit more closely shortly. There's an Arconian ship that this one is in danger of going through. Yeah, so that proves the theory. These guys are now neutral with the neutrals, and they won't attack them. That means that they will go directly for the players, and that's exactly what we wanted to achieve. In addition to that, over here we got some additional Arconian ships, and we can see that there's only 2 additional ones in the gravity well. That's also working as intended. So there we go. Now that we've seen that, that means that we can push these changes. What are they called? Slight reduction of the rampant militia spawn. There. Let's push that as well. Brilliant. So those are 2 gripes. Well, one gripe that I had and one gripe that my playtesters, the playtesters, they're not mine. One gripe that the playtesters had. Those have been addressed. And now the question becomes, what else do we want to address while we're at work today? One thing that needs to be addressed are those pips that I was talking about. But I want to have a design discussion with some of the artists about what we want to do with the pips. Now, what are pips? I shouldn't have actually quit out of the match. Discovery is still interested in fan service, then we'll probably see a prequel to TOS's Obsession episode with the vampire cloud creature. Maybe. Let's go back with Apollo. Make both of these Federation. I'm definitely very happy with the direction that we're moving in. Also very slowly. Couple of things to note down there. We don't have a wormhole graphic, or at least we don't have one that is presented in the Eye of Apollo. That's something that we're going to have to look at. Work out what we want to do with that. It appears that we don't have a pirate-based infographic either from the far out map view. Bernie says he's lonely over on Twitch. That's no good, is it? There you go, Grozart's there with you. your guys' thoughts on the Picard show? Are you optimistic about that, or less so? That is good, Grozite. You're quite right. I've been thoroughly enjoying my playthrough of that. Have random events been planned yet? Internally, we've discussed quite a few. Not, I don't think we've got a full roster though, so suggest away. What do you think about the Section 31 ships from Discovery? I think we've only seen one Section 31 ship in Discovery. It was an interesting design. Wouldn't have been the direction I would go. As I say, modernisation. It happens. Right, so when I say the pips, you see the two little grey blobs on the outside of this segment here. I need to move them so they're all within the confines. Now the confines, unfortunately, they're slightly different for each of these. But it's something that needs to be changed, because you can see that they're not showing up properly. They're just kind of sat on the outside incorrectly. And that's not what we want, so I need to work out what I want to do with the pips, whether I make them longer or shorter, or indeed change the way that they are represented. They could be balls instead of little blobs. And we could have various little balls that kind of go in that kind of shape, as opposed to directly downwards. There's a lot of potential things that we could do with those pips. And they signify fleet strength, or indeed the number of buildings. But you can see that we can't see them properly because they're just not all in the right place. Now, I did change them some time ago, and then we went through a minor redesign of all of these. And there's one of the inherent problems. That's something that we're going to definitely have a little look at. I wonder what main style we've got today. No, it's just a standard one. Xindi defenders in a rich asteroid belt here. Now you can see, this is actually one of the few things that does have Xindi defenders at the moment, or at least large Xindi defenders. There's a Xindi large and a Xindi small fleet. And if you take a look here, you can see that there are plenty of Xindi ships, but there's only one really big one, which is of course the aquatic battleship. And it's quite tough. Max was here a little bit earlier, Bernie, but he's quite tired today. He's had a difficult day. He's had some things that he had to address today. We'll call them family issues. He's had to attend a funeral, and as a result, he feels a little bit emotionally drained. So he's decided to spend a little bit of time with his partner and relax a bit more this evening. And I absolutely can't blame him. I think I might want to do the same were I in his position. So what have we got here? Web spinners. Look at those. I've always liked the elegance of Tholian ships. It's nice, simple designs, geometric shapes. These guys are probably underrepresented at the moment. These Conquerors. They're kind of like the Terrans. Terra Prime ships. I think there might be a second class as well. It's just the Conquerors at the moment. I thought there was something else. Yakambas. Nausicans. Some Ferengis over here with their gints. We might need to expand a little bit on the Ferengi defenders at some point. Because there are more Ferengi ship types. As we can... Non-unified meshes, non-unified meshes. You can see that we've got more Ferengi ship types than we used to have. We've got this fine fellow here. The Goront Heavy Cruiser, which is nice. Also got the Bronta Destroyer. Of course, we've seen the Gints. Yeah, some really nice looking ships overall. And they've also got their own station types. There's the trade station. Yes, here it is. I love this. Here he is, old Zek. I'm not sure how much has been done over here with the Vulcans yet. We will have a look though. I saw a lot of designs, but oh god, I wish I could bin this. We have the Dakir class, the Solkar class, and I think that's based on something from another Star Trek game that was, I don't think it was ever finished. We have the Vaklas. And somewhere around here, I imagine. Ah, there it is. The Surak. Very nice indeed. And they've got their own station types. Really nice station types as well. Turret somewhere here. Here's a turret. Mmm, tasty. Infinite space. Yes, thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Didn't show off that either, did I? The capital yard. There we go. That's all the Vulcan designs that we have at the moment. They're mines, which are, of course, basically upturned turrets, as far as I can tell. Yep, so that is what we've got at the moment. We've got the Arconians, of course. Which you've seen some unknown cruisers, which are green, not breens. Doesn't look like we've got anything else to look at, I'm afraid to say. On this map, at least. Yeah, generally, I'm quite happy with what we've got. There are other neutral ship types that we haven't got on this map, sadly. Right, is there anything else that people want to see at the moment? Now, we have noted that there is a fairly significant slowdown in research, and it isn't restricted to AOTF or STA3 or any mods, in fact. One thing that we try and do, when possible, is we try and report on Sins of a Solar or 2 Sins of a Solar Empire. We've got a really detailed bug report the other day. From Sovereign, or Echo, if you like. He's a Dawn of the Reapers developer and indeed Ages of the Federation. And we noticed that even with really hard AIs, the AI wasn't researching particularly its civilian tech trees. This is after, this is a cruel AI, or a hard AI, after over an hour of gameplay. And you can see it's barely done anything at all in nearly any of its trees, really. And it didn't used to be quite this bad. The AI has always been a little bit research shy, except for ship types. But it hasn't been this shy for a long time. You can see it's not even doing its weapons upgrade research. This was a problem that we initially saw in Ages of the Federation, but it turns out it's also in, as you can see, the stock game. And we did a fair few tests, as you can see, and we've reported this to the developers, and hopefully we'll get some kind of answer for that in the future. I know that it's something that Blair wanted to look at for 1.95 because we did note that ships, or at least both in the stock game and in mods, capital ships seem to be spawned normally, but frigates and cruisers, they weren't quite as commonplace as they had been in previous versions, and I think that's due to some of the AI changes that have come across. What's my player preference for AOTF, Feds, Klingons or Romulans? At the moment, I prefer Klingons to the Federation. Because Romulans aren't even close to complete at this point, it may be that I end up preferring their playstyle. But I'd need to be able to play them first. You're never sure until you've got your teeth into something, are you? I'd like to see some Romulan ships. I can do that. A lot of the Romulan ships are complete. We just haven't done a bunch of other stuff for it. All right. In fact, I think at the moment, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do a new game. And then I could just spawn them in. What do we want to see? Your sexy mug, of course. Unfortunately, my sexy mug is not going to be shown this evening. I haven't been very well, and I think as a result of that, I've perhaps not been... I'm wearing a really old t-shirt that's got holes all over it, and my beard has grown to Wookiee strength. I'm not looking great today. I'm not looking great at all. And while I freely admit that I rarely, perhaps never, look great, I do try and keep myself relatively well manicured. And I'm not today. Not at all. Right, so what we could do here is we can go spawn entity, we can go active player, we could say capital ships, go for Romulan. Do. Then hopefully... I'm only going to show some of these Romulan ships off. So we'll show these capital ships off as they stand. Battlehawk here. Now these might be subject to some slight changes, of course. One thing that I don't think the Romulan ships have been through yet is that painter thing that Max likes to do to the other ships. So they might look a little bit cleaner than, say, the Klingon or the Federation ships. So they might get a slight rework before we release the Romulan faction. Gallant Wing. It says Rapture, but I think it should be a Swiftwing. You'll just have to trust me that this is a Swiftwing. As I say, we're not actively developing the Romulans at the moment. over here, the courier wing. See, this is a carrier. It's got these little slots here that fighters will come out of. And down below as well. And we also have the Karakara. And we've taken this to be reflective, or perhaps even one of the original ships that performed the exodus from Vulcan, of course, with different nacelles, because they wouldn't have had proper warp drive. Or at least not warp in the same sense. Fusion-powered warp as opposed to their later 0-point singularity engines. Yeah, that's roughly what the Romulan ships are going to look like. Hope you like that little peek. But we're a ways away. You can see that we haven't even given them the correct pips or anything like that yet. Looks good though, doesn't it? It does look nice. We have been through some more iterations this week when it comes to balance. The testers and indeed some of the developers raised some concerns about certain ships that were punching above their weight in battle. So I gather that certain multipliers, and these multipliers were for various weapon types against different types of ships. The Hermes was a bit of a concern. And the Hermes damage against most normal ships has been toned down somewhat to make sure that there's an active counter to them. Ooh. Really love this. That is a worthy particle effect. Hmm. Will you do more 1v1 matches with you as the observer or ref? I really enjoyed the last one you did. Yeah, I'd love to do more of that. Certainly something that I really enjoyed doing. It was a new experience for me as well, and those who've spoken to me about it, they said that I didn't comport myself too badly. They felt that most of what I was saying was of relative value to the audience. Oh god, please let me bin these files. Some Suliban here. You'll find that the first time you zoom into any new models in game, the game lags out at the moment because the files aren't, they're not in binary format, they're all in rich text format. And that really lags the game out, but you see that the second time, once they've loaded in, it's fine and it doesn't lag again. That should be mitigated or perhaps even eliminated when we do put these files into binary format. It's always meshes that lag out the game. Lots of lovely Suliban there. What else have we got over here? Ah, yes. Suliban Helix. We got anybody else of interest? Ooh. Oh, more new models loading in. I don't think we've paid a great deal of attention to these guys before, so it would be nice for you to see these fellas. This is, of course, the Tellarites. There's one of their turrets. Nice simple turret. Simple turret for a simpler time. Mining station. We've chosen to unilaterally go with these kind of... We've called this the Tesra Freighter. We thought you'd enjoy that. The Andorians use a very similar freighter. Oh god, where have I gone? There's their frigate yard. Or refinery. Is that another refinery? Yeah, it is. And that's all that they've got at the moment, aside from their ships, of course, and their... Generally enjoyable. I like them. Like them a lot. Good to have the Tellarites in. I think that's going to be all of the... Yeah, that's all of the factions that we have. Are there any ships? We've seen them before, but we'll have a look at them again. Mazarites are in. Got over here more Gints. We've seen those today already. Yakambas. I don't know. Looks like the rest are pretty similar, unfortunately. There you go, you got to see one set of extra ships. Tellarite stations remind me of one of the old SFC factions, and maybe that's where the inspiration was got from, I think. Undying Nephilim perhaps got the inspiration from there. What's my favourite neutral or minor faction ship, says Dalek Seth. It's a bit of a toss-up. I really like the Orion Interceptor. It looks sleek and awesome and cool and dangerous. So this is a ship that I'm really fond of. Aside from that, I would probably... If I can find one of the aquatic frigates... I really like those. This is one of the small aquatic frigates, and I really like those. I think this is an excellent design. It's from John Eve's concept art, I believe, and Dying Nephilim has done a really nice job on it. And I think part of the reason I like it is because it's so unusual for the Trek universe. You don't often see designs that are so organic. We've also got an Andorian minor faction as well that you're able to trade with, but it's not represented here, sadly, in this map. So yeah, we do have all the founding races of the Federation. 3 of them, of course, are minor factions in this. And there may or may not be ways to get various ships from the other founders. That's something for later. I suppose some of you will probably want to see some Klingon sausagery as well. So I'll let that happen. See, with the Zindi aquatic, the large Zindi aquatic ship swallowing the NX-01 was epic. It was cool. Oh, got a message from Ghost. Looks like everything is going well. Yes, it is. Thank you, Ghost. Right, and here are the Klingons. You kind of know what to expect from the Klingons, don't you? I'd be interested in officiating a Klingon PvP battle between 2 of our testers at some point. That would be or two of our developers, either or. There's a hole in this. Screenshot that. There's a hole in the model! A hole in the model! Right. Yeah, there you go. That's a good way of representing it. Okay, we're gonna have to sort that out. Well, I know a lot of Klingon ships have holes in them, but I don't think that hole should be there, given the watch me be wrong now. Given the remainder of the model, there don't appear to be any holes on this side or down below, so I don't think that hole should be allowing light through. There should be some kind of patch there. I can show you all the Klingon capital ships should you want to see them. This is in no particular order, it'll just be whatever's closest. We've got the D6, this is from Axanar, of course. I really like the engine configuration from the ships in Axanar, I think it's super cool. Really nice ship. And then, of course, we've got an artist's impression of what the what is it called, the coffin ship, I suppose, from Discovery would look like were it in the Prime universe. Again, I really like this artist's impression. I think it's got a lot going for it. It seems like an older ship because of this conical design. For the Klingon, seems kind of almost of a more basic design, but because it's so sturdy and so useful in battle, they've just kept it going. Nice. Then we have the E5 Vudia. And you can see some of the advanced elements of this one's design. I've got to say, this reminds me of some later ships in some ways. It's clearly more basic, but it does remind me of some of the later ships, like given the configuration and the fins coming off the back there. And this is what, the Ravager? Again, this is based on a design that we used in STA3, very loosely. It's kind of very loosely based around the colony cap that you get in STA3, and we've made it seem a little bit older. It does look a bit like a Negvar, doesn't it? Although, as I say, based on its design, it's clearly much older. We wanted to see some kind of lineage continuation in there. Then we've got quite an unusual design here, the D4F. Very unusual nacelle configuration, and one that was theoretically not repeated again afterwards. Clearly there was some kind of issue with this design, which led the Klingons not to repeat it later. It acts as a command ship. Over here we've got the D4C. Jehug. Again, quite an unusual nacelle configuration for Klingon ships, and one that wasn't really repeated later on. It may be that this ship was, given that it had this large cargo bay thing down here, it may be that this was rated for planetary landings if it had struts here. And perhaps these could fold down and fold back up again, or perhaps they were in permanently a folded up position so it could land. I don't know. I really don't know. And also the standard D4. And there's your Klingon capitals. All do serve their own, and we've pretty much got the research where we want it as well with the Klingons, as you can probably see. It's generally good stuff. Hey, that looks like it was from Discovery. That's Discovery imagery right there. Look, see, look at that. But yeah, that's where we're at with the Klingons. Very, very close to being where we want to be. I'm happy overall with the Federation and indeed the Klingons. And hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on it relatively soon. Naturally, can't give you a date. Subject to everybody being happy. Hey, look, we've got some Andorians down here. We can show them off as well. Only 2 classes of Andorian ships at the moment. We've got the Kumari class, which is, of course, the primary one that you've seen before. Really nice looking ship. And then got these as well, which are the Ushan heavy frigates. And they're quite fun. Like a stealth fighter or something, don't they? Although they're significantly larger. What are the... when you say major factions, do you mean playable factions? Playable factions are Federation, Klingons and Romulans in Ages of the Federation. With potentially a 4th faction later. Oh. Looks like we've got Romulans on this map. Accidental Romulans. Stock fighters. Hello, stock fighters. How are you? I haven't heard those sounds in a while. That's alright, Dalek. I'm just winding the stream down now. Will Star Trek Armada be renamed? Why would it be? AOTF 2? Oh, there's no point talking about that right now because we haven't started any form of development. So there's no point speculating on something that we haven't started yet. It doesn't really serve a purpose, unfortunately. Because locking in ideas for something that is potentially a couple of, could be a year away, 2 years. There's no point doing that. There's no point locking in ideas unnecessarily. Right, fellas. to be honest, I think that's all I wanted to achieve for the stream tonight. I've done those little bits I wanted, and I'm going to work on these pips in my own time, maybe with a little bit of encouragement, coercion, instruction from some of the artists on the team about what they would like to achieve with the pips and how they would like to achieve it. And once I've done that, I'm sure we'll show it off in a week or two. As well as the additional upgrades, the wormhole change, maybe the pirate base change. But folks, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this evening. I'm sorry that it was mainly just me. Usually it's a little bit more boisterous in here, but everyone was either busy or otherwise engaged, by and large. So I hope I have been informative this evening. I hope I've shown you what you wanted. And I'll see you soon. You have a good evening.